Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, the drivers of the Apex this Mazda Cup have found themselves taking a break from the United States of America off the heels of a World Cup final, which saw the young attacking force of Spain, Lamine Yamal, Nico Williams, getting the win in the United States, in New Jersey, over the GOAT, Lionel Messi, man. Fantastic World Cup. Drivers are going to be taking a break from the US. We're heading over to the European side of things where we have Brands Hatch. That is going to await us here. It's week 5 of the Apex this Mazda Cup. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mac Nelson. I'll be your lone voice in the booth here tonight. I'll be playing double duty. I'll be pushing all the buttons. I'll be making all the calls when it comes to being up here in the global broadcast booth. Our race director still unknown. I probably should figure that out. But he, she, they, whoever it is, it could be a multitude of people. It doesn't really matter. They're going to be on the circuit. They're going to be enforcing these penalties here at Brands Hatch. 2.41 miles, only 9 turns are going to be plaguing these drivers today. We've got a surface temp of 25 degrees Celsius, 77 degrees Fahrenheit. As for our air, it is going to be just a tiny bit cooler, 22 degrees Celsius, that's 72 degrees Fahrenheit. No rain in the forecast for today. And if I'm being honest with you guys, it's absolutely wonderful to be back in the broadcasting side of things, the production side of things. But however, I did lose my war with my internet service provider at about the exact same time that our big boss man, Commissioner Rob Campbell, did switch everything over to a brand new sleek system. So I apologize if things aren't as snappy when it comes to the production here tonight. I am looking at this for genuinely the first time. So I do apologize. We are at Brands Hatch here tonight, round number 5, round number 6. We're going to jump back over to the United States of America. We go to Watkins Glen and then Sebring in round 7 before taking a trip to the Netherlands for Zandvoort, round number 8. If you're unfamiliar with the format here, we're going to be doing twin 20-minute heats, except we're inverting the top 4 out of the first heat. So whoever wins this first race is going to be starting 4th in the next race. So that is going to be very, very cool to see. Drivers just now prepping to get out onto the grid. And what a fantastic time to, I guess, go over your starting grid for the race here tonight. Or I guess I should say our first race here tonight at Brands Hatch. On pole is going to be Charles Wolf in that 00. Michael Brock in the number 4, 21. Going to be starting outside that row number 1. I'm used to the big, awesome Mike Taylor doing this, so I kind of forgot to turn the page. Nick Belasco, your potential early Rookie of the Year here in the Pro Series. Tony Wallace is going to be in the number 78, and he will be in P4. P5, Brian Lemke in the number 41. P6, going to go to Jesse Gonzalez in that clean number 7. Speaking of 7th, that's going to go to Sean Teeter in the 117. Gregorio Almirano Jr. starting in 8th. P9, the Canadian John Cooper with Kevin Zhu in the number 243, rounding out your top 10. In P11, Joe Mayer with Aaron Law. Accompanying him in row number 6, Jay Smooth, Josh Smith in P13, William Stern in P14. Row number 8 is going to see Ozzie Silu and Christopher Croto, with row 9 seeing Corey Mitchell and Craig Thompson. Spencer Bodwin and Brad Parker are going to be in row number 10 with Harrison Mealy and Sean Gapinski, making up row number 11. P23 is going to be Antonio Reyes Janetta, making his debut, I believe, here. Stan Hammonds, obviously the Sky Lounge Coca-Cola collab car, a regular here at the series. Rick Wishon in P25 with Dylan Foster in P26. And if I'm not mistaken, Brandon Banks in the number 1 is going to be our Old Spice branded car. Hey, I love Old Spice, man. I've been using that all the time. Cars are finally going to start taking to the track. Once again, I do apologize. A little bit of clunkiness, a little bit slow on things here. It's been a while since I've been up in the Racer Nexus Global Broadcast booth on the production side of things. Jen coming to us in chat as always. Big shout out to Jen and everybody else who watches and supports. Invites us into your home every single Sunday night for the Apex This Mazda Cup. Jen acknowledging the well done by Charles Wolf. I do so agree. He is going to be on pole, and he is going to lead us to the green flag. It's out. It's waving. We are racing here at Brands Hatch down into turn number 1. Tony Wallace is already starting to get a little bit of an idea there on the outside. He is going to come into contact with the number 41 of Brian Lemke, and that is going to be already Tony Wallace's race more than likely over. And that's just unfortunately what you come to see when you deal with the sheer amount of cars here at the very, very small Brands Hatch. As you can see, or as you can hear, I should say, the absolute roar of these Miatas as we're getting going. They're stretching the legs, coming down the front straight for the first time. Charles Wolf having one heck of a time. Let's zoom things out here, get a little bit of a wider shot of the racetrack, shall we? Michael Brock, who ran into just a tiny bit of trouble last week at Road Atlanta, which, to be fair, almost everybody did, as that race was an absolute conundrum in and of itself, and I'm sure we might be seeing a little around the same things here. But opening lap, everything looking steady for our top 5 drivers, which does include a mid-pack Larry. Jesse Gonzalez back there in the mid-pack Larry division, I apologize, in the Pro Series. It is going to claim the top 4 spots: Charles Wolf, Michael Brock, Nick Belasco, and Brian Lemke after one lap. And I mean, look at Nick Belasco, man. Fastest lap, obviously going to go to Charles Wolf here on the first go-around. But Nick Belasco, from winning the mid-pack Larry's season title to getting promoted to the Pro Division, he's here and he is putting on a show. He has been very, very good through his first few performances here in the Pro Series in the Apex This Mazda Cup. We'll have to see if he can accelerate things and maybe keep that going as we get further into the fixtures. Aaron Law is already somehow, and I'm not entirely sure how, but it claims that Aaron Law is 9 positions up on his class, even though he's only 1 position up on the racing surface. However, it is going to be Aaron Law in P4 for those mid-pack Larrys. And look at the livery he is rocking this week. The Canadian in the 468. He's trying to chase down the Pro Series driver of Joe Mayer, but it is not working out in his favor so far. Turn 1 takes another victim, says Kenny in the chat. Yep, I agree. Turn 1 is always going to get even the best of them, and it is going to claim Tony Wallace here on the opening lap, which I guess it'd be a pretty decent idea to go back and take a look at things. As you can see here, if I can find the slowdown button, we're coming through the apex of turn number 1, and it's just going to be a little too sharp to the right for Tony Wallace. Obviously, he doesn't know that there are 2 cars on the right of him. He really only thinks there's 1. However, just a little too selfish of a line if you're Tony Wallace there. You know, arc it out. Make sure you're safe. It's turn 1, lap 1. I would hate to be the one that does basically exactly what Tony Wallace does there. Unfortunate for him, but he does have another race here tonight where hopefully he can get back at it. Continue to be something of a force here in the grid tonight. Sean Teeter in that 117 is feeling a whole lot of pressure from the 77 Sky Lounge driver of John Cooper. John Cooper looking to tuck his nose onto the inside here on the second right-hander. Now coming down the hill, it's going to be a very weird high-speed right-hander, and John Cooper, there he goes. You could just tell it was happening from the onset. Very, very unlucky there for John Cooper. We saw exactly how it was going to go down. We can get a little bit of a drone cam here. You can see, there it is, just the little bit of pivot in his car. Going to upset the tires just enough to where when he takes that corner at race speed, the tires are not going to really know what to do. They are going to tweak out, and that is exactly what happened. Our mid-pack Larry leader, Jesse Gonzalez, in the number 7, going to be turning the fastest lap of the entire race. Out here with a 138.03, Jesse Gonzalez has got his Miata on absolute rails. So Jesse Gonzalez, who I battled for a long time, and I don't know what it was, maybe week 1, week 2. I wrestled with the opinion myself. I said, Jesse Gonzalez, there's no way he's a mid-pack Larry driver. He is. We have been proven wrong. He is sitting at a 4,097 I rating. Jesse Gonzalez's I rating is going to absolutely tower over everybody else in the mid-pack Larry division. And speaking of how the points line up, I promise as soon as I figure out how to show you guys, I will do exactly that. But we've got a big battle right now between Sean Teeter and Aaron Law. We'll get to those points after the fact, but it's going to be side by side for these 2 drivers. They're boxed up for 1 row behind them, and Aaron Law taking the inside line, swooping through, managing to not curb his momentum too much to where Sean Teeter would stay kind of close to him. I mean, it's now 2 car lengths back. On the lead here for Aaron Law, this is going to be for P2 in the class. Of course, P1, Jesse Gonzalez setting fastest lap after fastest lap. John Cooper again in the back, you see, with a little bit of an issue there. And maybe that might have been Stan Hammonds. Yes, I believe it was the number 55 of Stan Hammonds here running in P16. He's got the Vans 305 of Christopher Croteau right in front of him, who is currently on the precipice of a top 5 in the division. Going to be 16th or 15th overall, I should say. I do so dearly apologize. But what a good race this would be for Christopher Croto if he could get himself into the top 5 for his class. Now, granted, we do have 2 attempts here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Only 12 minutes to go still in our first race of the night. Second race going to be an invert of the top 4. Other than that, it's going to play exactly how race number 1 finished. Christopher Croto taking a little bit of a lawn mower route there, heading through the sand just a tiny bit. Nick Belasco in P3. He sits 2 spots up from where he started. And it's going to be incredible for him to see exactly what he can do. He hasn't really this season been given a chance to really stretch his legs. He's always been in some sort of conflict, some sort of battle, or so it seems, at least when I look at it, with an omniscient eye, as I so should by being a broadcaster. But Nick Belasco, for being promoted, he seems to fit in just fine. And I mean, we kind of saw it last season. Season number 27, he was running rampant over pretty much everyone that was not, Zach Peterson. And, even Zach Peterson, he liked to take his talents to the mid-pack Larry side of the GT4 series that they offer here on Tuesday nights. I big time miss that series. Hope that series is going well for all of the drivers and the fans that tune into that every single Tuesday night. It's going to be a new pass for the lead. It's going to be Michael Brock. And it's going to come off the heels of a Charles Wolf incident. He went off track just a little too wide into one of those corners there, so it's going to cost him a decent bit heading into the final 2 corners, and they might just consider this 1 corner. I'm not entirely sure. Going to be turn number 9. Heading back to the start-finish line. Iconic start-finish straight. You can see it in the movie Rush with Daniel Bruhl and Chris Hemsworth. The story of James Hunt and Niki Lauda. There's a very iconic scene where Niki Lauda is downplaying the Ferrari, as he so famously did, and it happened in the movie here at the Brands Hatch start-finish straight. Don't know where it happened in real life. Yeah, it could have been quite literally anywhere. I would not be able to tell you. However, very, very good movie. I encourage every single race fan to give that one a watch when they can. Just north of 9 minutes remaining, and Michael Brock has a pretty good view of all the open track in front of him. It's going to be Nick Belasco, who trails him by just 0.3 of a second. But regardless, it is going to be a very, very slim lead. As now for P3, Charles Wolf and Brian Lemke are side by side, having a little bit of a battle. Charles Wolf is going to be off again. No clue if there was contact between Brian Lemke and Charles Wolf. We'll have to go take a look at it again, but the battle is heating up with Brian Lemke and Jesse Gonzalez. We'll take you to look real quick. Here, Charles Wolf and Brian Lemke side by side. Let's see if we can get a look. There is gonna be contact between Wolf and Lemke. So if we go back and take a look at that just one more time here, we get a look through our dynamic camera here on the Racer Nexus blimp, and man, that is a tough one to call. Charles Wolf did kind of just ignore that Brian Lemke's car was there. However, the corner kind of did belong to Wolf. He wasn't really up alongside. I don't know. Should there have been room left given? I do think so. So not entirely sure what to think on that one. Kevin Zhu in the number 243, the man from St. Kitts and Nevis. Currently sitting in P6. That is going to be overall P5 in class because of Jesse Gonzalez's heroics in P4 for the mid-pack Larry division. But let's turn an eye to someone who we've been watching pretty keenly here in race number 1, Aaron Law in the number 468. It seems like it's been nothing but battle after battle for the number 468 Canadian. And he is very, very close, only 7 minutes away, just a little less than that actually, from winning, or not winning I should say, securing a podium for the mid-pack Larry division here. And if we look just a few cars back, things are heating up between Spencer Beaudoin and the 911 DeWalt Miata. That's Isaac Silu. Tony Wallace is there too. You cannot sleep on him. He had a very good qualifying performance, so he should be able to soar past these two who didn't have the best of performance. And Isaac Silu is going to concede the 3 wide before the apex of turn number 1. Tony Wallace is going to get through. Now he works around the outside on Spencer Beaudoin in that 0-1-0. The number 78 of Tony Wallace, Mav Motorsport driver, repping Dr. Pepper on his Miata. Currently, he's trying to find a way around Spencer Beaudoin, but what we know about Spencer Beaudoin, he's very, very defensive, puts his car in the correct spots at all times of a race. It's very, very hard to get by him, and I think that's exactly what we might be seeing right now. As we head into the first of our twin right-handers here, halfway through the track. Going to be turns number 5 and 6. Coming up on to number 7. This is my favorite one. I mean, you're just barely off the throttle. You're making sure that right wheel kind of hooks into the curbing. Sets you up for an absolute rocket launch around the apex of that corner. I mean, it is very, very fun entirely. This entire track, very, very fun for all the new iRacers out there who might have just recently gotten a subscription, or you might have just recently gotten into the road side of things. You can't go wrong with a Miata around Brands Hatch, and Tony Wallace is going to let the back end of that thing step out just a tiny bit. As we head down the hill into turn number 1, we'll check back up on our leader, Michael Brock, who has nothing but pay dirt in front of him. It looks like Sean Alexander in 07, as he has got no one even near him. He is rapid. Nick Velasco is fighting an absolute war. Behind him, he's got Brian Lemke and mid-pack Larry Jesse Gonzalez to contend with. Now, here's the weird part. Here's where things get spicy in race number 1, ladies and gentlemen. Jesse Gonzalez, all while being a mid-pack Larry, does want to fight for this podium, man. He wants to get up in there. He wants to contest for the win. He believes he's fast enough, and he's looking to make a move on the 41 of Brian Lemke. Three and a half minutes left, only a few laps to go. 138s are going to be what half of our grid is running, 139 for the other half, so it should be... I think it's going to be just 2 more laps. We'll have to keep an eye on Michael Brock really to see. But it's going to be a 138 or 139.29. I apologize. It's going to be pretty much those times around him, or at least in the top 7. When it comes to Charles Wolfe, however, in that 00, he is still just the fastest car on track. It is an absolute shame to see what happened to him. And looky here, Gregorio Almireno Jr., I almost let it slip through the cracks. He is sitting in P4 right now. It is going to be P5 overall, but for the class, it's P4, and this is an absolute historic day for Gregorio Almireno Jr. He has the chance to maybe secure himself a podium in the next race coming up. He gets a very, very good spot at P5, assuming all things end well. He did start in P8, and that's usually not somewhere we see Gregorio Almireno Jr. starting from. We normally see him P16, P17, P18, so it's very, very clear to me that Gregorio Almireno Jr. has been studying, practicing, and really trying to hit home on those qualifying laps to give himself the best advantage possible to start the race. I mean, absolutely, hats off to Gregorio Almireno Jr. Nick Velasco trying to get around Brian Lemke. That's going to be through turn number 2. And I'm pretty sure we're in a white flag situation here. I'm not completely sure, but there's only 1:10 left on the clock, so we'll have to see. Brian Lemke in P2. Jesse Gonzalez has actually gotten around Nick Velasco. That is going to give him the overall podium as he currently sits in P3 overall, obviously going to be winning his division by a pretty fair amount. 16.6 seconds is how far it takes before you find another mid-pack Larry. It's going to be the 117 Monster Energy Miata of Sean Teeter. Michael Brock 3/4 of the way through what I believe might be the final lap here in race number 1. Let's see if I can get a look at Barney the Flag Man. I can't. Oh, we can just barely see him behind the timing tower here. I'll hide that for you. This is going to be Michael Brock, and we are now taking the white flag as I believe 5 seconds on the board. Yes, Michael Brock is going to be taking the white flag. This is our final time around Brands Hatch here for our first race of the night. Remember, gentlemen, don't go anywhere, because we will be back with heat race number 2 very, very shortly after this race concludes here in about a minute's time. Top 4 will invert, we'll stack them back up, we'll do it all over again here live on Racer Nexus. My name, Mac Nelson. So glad you guys could join us here tonight on a lovely Sunday night here at Virtual Brands Hatch. As Michael Brock, there really wasn't a need. There really wasn't a need for anyone to show up here tonight. He has been absolutely cooking. And I think the overall moral of the story here is consistency. Charles Wolf, obviously, very fast. Brian Lemke, Nick Velasco, all very, very fast. Charles Wolf, very, very fast. I must reiterate that. However, if you can't cut out the minor mistakes, you're not going to get a win here in the Apex this Mazda Cup, because someone like Michael Brock, he might not be the fastest when he steps out onto the track, but you best believe he's going to be the most consistent. And with Josh Soto absent, Michael Brock takes big advantage in the championship hunt. Race number 1 goes to him. Brian Lemke coming home in P2. Nick Velasco gonna bring it home on the podium for the pros. However, Jesse Gonzalez securing the overall podium, and he is going to win for the mid-pack Larrys. 20 seconds back will be Sean Teeter. Charles Wolf crosses the line, P4 in his class. Gregorio Almireno Jr., top 5 in his class. Only going to be P6 for the race. Kevin Zhu bringing it in. Spencer Bodwin in P8. Tony Wallace in P9. Sean Teeter bringing it in. Jay Smooth, Josh Smith going to finish P3. John Cooper, Christopher Croto going to round out the top 5 for our mid-pack Larrys. So what a really, really fun race we just saw, ladies and gentlemen. Drivers, Harrison Mealy, Brandon Banks, still going to be crossing the line. I do believe those might be our final 2. As we head into a small warm-up before our second race and our final race of the night. We'll stop and we'll take a little break here. When we come back, it's going to be the main event, race number 2. Here live at Brands Hatch for the Apex This Mazda Cup Sunday Series, live on Racer Nexus.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it. They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Trish on the bottom. Richard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging. And to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Abramitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Apex This Mazda Sunday Cup here live on Racer Nexus. Ladies and gentlemen, my name once again gonna be sorry about that. My name, ladies and gentlemen, well, Well, there should be some race info coming up, ladies and gentlemen. I promise I am not going crazy. Unfortunately, we cannot get the timing tower to react to anything I'm giving it. We're going to hit it a quick refresh, gentlemen. And I'm going to really, and I mean really, really hope that that indeed solves the issue here. But drivers are going to be taking to the track, as you can see. As it looks like we might have a little bit of a problem. I'm handling it now. I think it might be just a little bit of a bug on the timing tower side of things. Jesse Gonzalez, Nick Velasco are going to be on your front row here as we start race number 2. I'm trying to reconnect to a server in the United States for my timing tower here so I can show you guys all the cool stuff we got cooking up here for race number 2. But all you need to know is that Nick Velasco has absolutely dodged all the carnage and chaos. And turn number 2 is going to provide just that. Brandon Banks, Jesse Gonzalez, Rick Wishon, Joe Mayer. They are all going to be feeling the burn from that one. As once again, ladies and gentlemen, trying very, very hard to get the timing tower on par, working again. As we have a disconnection, we are reconnected to a server in the US, allegedly. Maybe I should swap to, Europe or something. Not entirely sure. We love you, Mac. Hey, I'm trying, man. I'm telling you, Jen. I'm telling you. This ain't on me this time. This actually is not on me. Nothing is going wrong at my battle station. Here in the depths of Kentucky, might I add. Brian Lemke in the number 41 is going to be P3. Michael Brock in P2. The rookie just promoted from the mid-pack Larry season last season. It is going to be Nick Velasco, who is in P1. Magnificent work from him. 1 minute and 53 seconds have elapsed. I am still trying to figure out you guys a workaround, a solution here. As it looks like we are connected. Fantastic. It just keeps looping me in a cycle of connection and disconnection. We're going to try something else here very, 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 very shortly, ladies and gentlemen. I do so dearly apologize for that. Ozzik Silu in P11 overall, going to be 10th in class. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, we've done it. The pictures might not show up for the drivers, but hey, if that's one thing we got to live with, that's one thing we got to live with. Michael Brock now around the outside of Nick Velasco. That is going to be for the lead. Michael Brock in the 421 looking to make it a sweep for the night here. And real quick, we'll show you guys how heat race number 1 went down. Michael Brock, Brian Lemke, Jesse Gonzalez rounding out the pole, or rounding out the podium, I should say. For the pros, Nick Velasco gets that nod. Charles Wolf, Gregorio Almerino Jr., Kevin Zhu, Spencer Beaudoin, Tony Wallace, Ozzik Silu, and Stan Hammonds. For the mid-pack Larrys, Jesse Gonzalez, Teeter, Smith, Cooper, Croto, Thompson, Mealy, Stern, Parker, and Corey Mitchell, part of Mitchell Motorsports. That was your top 10 from both classes. There in race number 1, Kevin Zhu in the 243. trying to get testy here with the 41 of Brian Lemke. He dipped off, looked like he was going to try to make something happen around the inside. Brian Lemke closes the door immediately, leaving that attempt null and void. Charles Wolf here in P5 had a stinker of a start to heat race number 1. Unfortunately, didn't get to check in on him too many times throughout the 20-minute heat race. But he did manage to bring himself back up and get into a decent spot. Not going to be a total loss for points for him on the night here. Round 5 will not be a total blemish on the legacy when we look back in 7 weeks' time when we reach the end of season number 28. When it comes to championships, we'll show you how it looked before heat race number 1 tonight. Sean Teeter leading the mid-pack Larrys with Michael Tanagretta and Harrison Mealy flanking him on the podium. For the championship, Joshua Soto, who is not here, is going to be leading, or was leading, Michael Brock by 26 points. Ryan Ryder, who is also not here, in P3. So for Joshua Soto and Ryan Ryder, tonight is going to be a night that they wish they might have shown up to. As we get a good look here at Tony Wallace, who had a stellar qualifying run, was not able to convert in the first heat. He had himself a moment at turn number 1 before race number 1 could really even get started. He's been working from behind ever since. Started P9 here in heat race number 2, our main event of the evening. And he is up 1 spot into P8, so he is starting to maybe move up the line. It's going to be a fastest lap from our leader, Michael Brock, 138.21 that last time around. He's 3/4 of the way done with lap number 4, and we'll see what he posts. But meanwhile, Sean Teeter currently going to be leading for the mid-pack Larrys off the heels of the turn 1 or maybe lap 1 catastrophe that Jesse Gonzalez had to endure. Brandon Banks has had a moment. We'll take a look as it looks like he's exiting the pit lane. You hear the roars of the Miata coming down the start-finish straight in. Well, that doesn't seem too bad. Nothing seemed to happen to Mr. Banks there. Craig Thompson's also had a moment just a few laps ago. We'll take a look. This might have been on the opening lap as we head around turn number 2. Craig Thompson, that is where the 7 of Jesse Gonzalez had a little bit of a moment. And Craig Thompson, the driver from Zimbabwe, he got on the brunt end of that one. But overall, pretty clean considering how race number 1 went for our drivers. So I'm curious to see if maybe we keep things just a tiny bit cleaner here in race number 2. Kenny said, well, at least they waited until turn 2 this time. Hey, that's a good shout, man. That is a very good shout. It only took them 1 turn longer. But they did indeed get it done. Michael Brock still going to be at the helm of this entire grid, sitting at P1 in the number 421. And Jen said she was in Vegas for 4 days. So Mr. Mike Brock got some peace and quiet to practice. Very, very good. Vegas, which was also the site of what just wrapped up about 30 minutes ago, the Call of Duty World Championships for the 2026, aka the Black Ops 7 season. FaZe taking that 5-3, or 5-2, I believe, over Optic Gaming MVP performance from 04 and Abuza, just like in Major 3. Or Major 2, whichever one they won. However, we're not talking about Call of Duty right now. We're talking about Vegas, man. Went there in March. My 3rd time going to Vegas, actually. Very, very iconic, very cool, very nice places to eat. The Sicilian Ristorante. Excuse my whack Kentucky Italian. Very fantastic, very good meal. Probably the best meal I have ever eaten in my life. Nick Velasco currently trying to work on taking the chunk out of this 1.9 second lead, almost a 2-second lead, that our leader Michael Brock has amassed. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, I just cannot talk tonight. Charles Wolf in the 00 posted a 138.14 last time around. That is going to be enough for the fastest lap of the race. He's got his eyes set on Brian Lemke down into turn number 2. Charles Wolf preps the inside, but it's not going to hold as Brian Lemke shuts the door on that one. He is going to have to try again just a little further back in your frame. Kevin Zhu and Tony Wallace are having a battle for the final spot in that top 5. So your top 5 overall is going to be the top 5 for the pros. Going to be Brock, Velasco, Lemke, Wolf, and Wallace. You can see Wallace right there in the MAV Motorsport Dr. Pepper, number 78. Putting in a fantastic shift here at Brands Hatch. Tony Wallace, I was trying to find his last 5 lap times. I found it. So it looks like Charles Wolf is going to be having the best of all 3 of these drivers on pretty much every single